We are kicking off today with Smackdown, as The Rock was on this week's show, and for the first time since his heel turn, used his role as a TKO board member in his favor. During Smackdown, the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 was made official, as The Rock and Roman Reigns will take on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. The Rock and Reigns arrived with confidence, with The Rock adding a fancy lightning bolt to his entrance this week, and after deep investigations, we can confirm Black Adam was still a flop. On last week's episode, The Rock made the challenge with stipulations, saying if his team wins, the Reigns-Rhodes Universal title match the next night will be under Bloodline rules. If Cody and Rollins win, though, there will be no outside interference in the Universal title match, but now Rock has introduced a new stipulation for WrestleMania. On SmackDown, the Great One flexed his TKO muscles and stated that if Rhodes loses to Reigns, he will never get a shot at the undisputed WWE Universal Championship again. This would be a huge setback for Rhodes, who after never winning the AEW World title, returned to WWE to win the WWE Championship that his father Dusty never officially held. Roman Reigns also had some choice words during the segment on SmackDown, as he mocked Seth Rollins and called the World Heavyweight Champion a cross-dresser in the ring. Rollins was clearly miffed from the dig, which follows on from Reigns calling him a bum at the WrestleMania 40 kickoff event back in February. While WWE had its two top champions in the ring, the focus of the segment was on The Rock and Cody Rhodes, and the American Nightmare had some payback in store. Rock spoke about the significant age gap between himself and his siblings, as Dustin is actually 16 years older than Cody, though The Rock said it was 20. In a scathing line, The Rock said Cody was born so late after his brother because he was a mistake, prompting a slap from Rhodes in a throwback to what happened at the kickoff event. Unfortunately, the closing credits text box appeared on the screen while this was happening, making clear WWE was running short on time, but the slap did make it into the broadcast. Thanks to the fans who attended SmackDown, we know what happened next, as The Rock and Reigns left without any retaliation. On Twitter, Teal Rhodes, the sister of Cody, reminded fans and The Rock that while he and Dustin are 16 years apart, she and Cody are just 3 years apart. Teal's tweet was clearly trying to dismiss the idea that Cody was a mistake, as the entire Rhodes family are rallying for the American Nightmare to finish his story this April. Age gap or not, Cody slapping The Rock was an epic moment, and this segment helped raise the stakes for what will arguably be the most star-studded main event in WrestleMania history. Rollins, Rhodes, Rock, and Reigns all have momentum now less than a month before WrestleMania 40, and what did you think of the segment? Let us know below. Since 2018, WWE has hosted events in Saudi Arabia as part of a lucrative deal with the Middle Eastern Kingdom, and now fans can expect to see another show within a matter of months. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that WWE is expected to host their next Saudi event on May 25th, which is noticeably the day before AEW Double or Nothing will take place. WWE tries to host a massive show each time they come to Saudi Arabia, and this May event could have the biggest match we've ever seen in the country, Roman Reigns versus The Rock. The Wrestling Observer newsletter says WWE would love for The Rock to work the show, and the belief is that WrestleMania 40 won't be the only show he competes on this year. It's said that there's definitely a push for Rock to work at least one Saudi Arabia event this year, and the match with Reigns is obviously the biggest match WWE could do. While WWE wanted Rock vs. Reigns for WrestleMania, having it at a Saudi show is a solid alternative, so don't be surprised if we see much more of the Great One in 2024. Logan Paul kicked off SmackDown with a historic announcement that Prime Hydration will be the center ring sponsor of all WWE PLEs going forward, starting with WrestleMania. Paul's celebration alongside business partner KSI was interrupted by Randy Orton, and while Paul fended off the RKO, KSI ate the finisher before Orton stood tall. WWE has never had an on-canvas sponsor in its long history. While it will take some getting used to, it is a regular occurrence in combat sports and even in other wrestling companies. It's no doubt WWE will make a ton of money, and as for the storyline, this segment essentially solidifies that Paul and Orton will face off at WrestleMania. The Viper will have revenge in mind after Paul cost him a World Heavyweight title match at WrestleMania, and could be the one to take the US title from the Maverick this April. Orton teamed with Kevin Owens to face Grayson Waller and Austin Theory on SmackDown, and the heels effectively built up heat, even if the finish was never in question. Orton received a late hot tag and joined Owens for a sweet pop-up RKO combo on Theory for the win, only to be attacked alongside Owens by Logan Paul after the match. Paul teased using the brass knucks, but Orton wrestled the weapon away and swung at the Maverick, who ducked, and Orton stopped just shy of blasting Owens, hinting at dissension. It seems like a triple threat for the US title could be in the works, one that'll be excellent given the talent involved, and there was another story being told with this feud. WWE is subtly telling the story of Theory making the save for Waller or getting put in tough situations because of him, and appears to be poised to split the two up. Babyface Theory doesn't sound like someone the WWE Universe is ready to accept, and it'll be interesting to see how WWE pulls it off. In a backstage interview, Bayley told Kayla Braxton that it had been a tough week for her after being betrayed by Dakota Kai, and vowed to tear down the very damage control that she had built. Bianca Belair expressed zero sympathy for Bayley and the latest sign of an edge to the EST, and this attitude was present ahead of Elimination Chamber. Belair let her confidence shine inside the chamber, and could a heel turn be on the horizon, one that sees Bianca feel justified in her opinion? Back in the arena, the rivalry between Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross continued as the Almighty squared off with the leader of the Final Testament. This was a heavy-hitting match that was rarely pretty but never needed to be, and Lashley seemed poised to win after downing Kross with a spinebuster and prepping for a spear. That's when Akam and Razor arrived to cause the DQ, and while the Street Profits tried to make the save, the Final Testament proved to be too much, and the heels stood tall. This ceremony will be the first of its kind in the TKO era, and a certain board member has been keeping a close eye on who gets the nod. Fightful Select reports that The Rock has had major input on this year's class of inductees, with one source saying this will be evident if the planned inductees are revealed as scheduled. This year's class has been well received by fans so far, and there are more inductees to come, and we'll have to see who The Rock feels should be inducted this year. After a shaky start, The Rock's return to WWE has been a hit with fans thanks to his heel turn, and soon, the Brahma Bull will be bringing back one of his most popular segments. According to WrestleVotes, WWE could be bringing back The Rock concert for next week's SmackDown, in which the Great One will show off his musical talents. The Rock's first concert came in 2003 when he was his Hollywood heel persona, and to this day is one of the most popular segments in the history of Monday Night Raw. If it happens, we're sure he'll have plenty to say about Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and how do you feel about the return of The Rock concert? Let us know in the comments below. Since turning heel, The Rock has said that his goal is to make sure Cody Rhodes doesn't finish his story in what many fans feel was a heel turn that had to take place. The We Want Cody movement was so loud that WWE was right not to ignore it, and after releasing a scathing 21-minute video earlier this week, The Rock has done it again. In the latest video, The Rock continued to state that he didn't care about Cody Rhodes' story, and took a dig at his dog Pharaoh once again. After his latest rant at the 2024 Men's Royal Rumble winner, The Rock made his point clear with his closing message, saying, "Cody Rhodes, now and forever, your story." The Rock is certainly going all in on his heel turn, which by contrast is only making Rhodes even more popular, as Cody is determined to finish the story no matter what the bloodline has to say. Tiffany Stratton continued to build on her recent momentum by earning a victory over Michin, who in contrast has been on a downward slope as of late. Stratton has mastered the art of presentation. From her facial expressions to body language and how she taunts the crowd, she understands how important that aspect is of her performance. It was Tiffy time last night as Stratton delivered a picture-perfect prettiest moonsault ever for the win in another showcase of the former NXT Women's Champion. Stratton is the future of the women's division, and every time she shows out against a veteran performer such as Michin, it becomes more apparent with each passing week. After the match, AJ Styles cut a scathing pre-taped promo on LA Knight, who responded by obliterating the television he was watching with a steel chair, which seemed like a bit of overkill. Dragon Lee defeated Angel Garza in a match set up earlier in the broadcast, and while we're sure the match was great, much of the contest took place during a commercial break. This match was a means of heating up Legado del Fantasma following on from Rey Mysterio's return last week, and despite Garza's loss, this segment efficiently did just that. The heels beat down Lee, a known associate of the LWO, and stood tall to re-establish some dominance, and now fans can expect Mysterio vs Santos Escobar at WrestleMania. If that is the case, then this match could be a dark horse to steal the show at WrestleMania, and with a card as stacked as we're seeing, that's saying something. Earlier this month, it was revealed that Mike Santana had left AEW less than a year after making his triumphant return to TV in August 2023 following a lengthy injury. Santana had once been one of the most prominently featured stars in AEW thanks to his role in the Inner Circle, and now he's spoken about no longer being All Elite. In December 2023, Santana tweeted and deleted his frustration over a lack of TV time, and taking to the platform again this week, Santana addressed his exit from AEW. He said, "Took a few days to reflect, and I can't tell you how truly blessed and grateful I feel. It's been 5 years full of ups and downs, but above all, it taught me so much about myself in this business. I'm thankful for the opportunity I was given to be a part of history at the ground level. I can say that I'll forever be a part of that legacy right at day one. But as you know, there comes a time in life where you have to make decisions and take a bet on yourself. We only get one chance at this life thing, and life is about taking risks. You'll never know your true potential unless you really put it to work. I'm a big believer in when one door closes, a bigger door opens, and I'm so excited for what the future holds for me. With that being said, I want to thank God and my father for continuing to guide me, my family for their endless support, all the fans who have backed me endlessly no matter what, to Ortiz for the years, and AEW for the knowledge and opportunity. I told you, the best is yet to come." In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it is reported that Santana had been unhappy in the company for a long time, and he was wanting a singles push that just wasn't materializing. Santana won last year's feud with Ortiz, but wasn't used after that, and now the reigning House of Glory World Champion is free to try his hand outside AEW. It's been close to 2 years since Mercedes Mone walked out of WWE alongside Naomi, and while the latter has since returned, Mone has yet to make a comeback to the company. In a matter of days, Mone is expected to officially debut for AEW, but as she explained on the Kick Rocks Wrestling podcast, she believes a return to WWE will happen eventually. She said, "I know I'm going to be back there one day. Like I said, I have a lot of unfinished business in a lot of places." Given her imminent arrival in AEW, it's interesting that Mone is already talking about a WWE return, and we're not sure how those in AEW will feel about these comments. Mone still has a lot of friends in WWE, most notably Bayley and Naomi, and as far as the Mandalorian actor is concerned, it's just a matter of time before we see Sasha Banks again. After his recent match with Jeff Hardy went wrong, AEW has suspended Sammy Guevara as the Spanish God did not follow proper concussion protocol during their match on February 14th. Guevara broke Hardy's nose with a knee strike, and while Jeff didn't suffer a concussion, the fact that Sammy didn't stop to let Jeff be tested for a concussion earned him the suspension. This has led to major changes in AEW, as on Wrestling Observer Radio, it was stated that Guevara and Chris Jericho were going to be a team in the AEW Tag Title Tournament. That won't happen now, and on the show, Dave Meltzer pointed out how Jericho and Kenny Omega were the originally planned team, though that was scrapped due to Kenny's hiatus. Going off what we've seen recently, it now looks like Jericho and Hook will be the duo fans can expect in the tournament, in a far cry from what AEW has had planned in the past. As fans await further updates, questions loom regarding the length of Guevara's suspension and the impact it'll have on his future in AEW, and we'll have to see when he's allowed back.